Yo, Raider Nation was good. How y'all feeling, man? Tough game, good game though. Good game, definitely good game. Definitely a good game. Wonderful season. Came down to the wire. A lot of fight in our guys. Definitely. I'm just glad that it was a good game. Tough opponent. Had to go on the road. Not the prettiest game, man. Not the prettiest game. I'll be honest, but look. You can't really be too mad. You can't really be too mad at the season. Can't really be too mad at the season, man. Exactly, man. Hell of a season. Hell of a season. Came down to the wire. It was just, it was a tough game. It was a tough game. We should be, I don't know, we should be happy, man. We should be proud. We should be happy the fact that we're in the playoffs. We're able to we're able to make the playoffs. We're able to go out there with a bang. Didn't really, I don't think we embarrassed ourselves. We went out into the playoffs, played a really good team. The team that won the AFC North, by the way. Like, this is a divisional. This team won their division, right? So we went out there, fought our asses off. It came down to the wire, and we just, it just didn't happen in the end. But I'm not really too mad, bro. I'm honestly not really too mad. I really don't have no complaints, man. I'm happy as hell that we made the playoffs. We took that next step. We got over the hump, and we're being competitive in the playoffs. Not only do we make it, but we are being competitive in the playoffs with a division, a team that won their division. You know what I mean? So I'm not really mad at anything, man. I'm not really mad at anything. Shout out everybody that's pulling up in the chat. Shout out to everybody, man. But it was a tough game. I know we could have done something else. I see y'all saying, why is Zay Jones? Z says Zay Jones dropped the game-winning touchdown. We had hell of a season. We should have fed Jacobs at the end, and I'm not really, I know this is the post game, but I'm not really. It's tough, man. And this if y'all want to blame anything, it's the penalties, bro. It's the penalties. It shouldn't have never come down to the wire like that. I know it does, and I know we could have been like, oh, we should have done this, or we should have thrown it to that person, or we should have ran it. At the end of the day, man, think about it. We had penalties on penalties on penalties on penalties, and those were drive killers. We had multiple drop passes, and it was just a lot going on, man. And it wasn't the cleanest game. It wasn't the cleanest game, but I'm just glad we were there to fight. I'm just glad we were there to be there for the fight. Let me get into the chat, man, because I see y'all. But we need to fix the O line. Definitely need to fix the O line. You Duran says Carr being Carr. I mean, nobody else showed up to do anything, so he had to force it. He really had to force it. I mean, at that point, you have to do something. You know what I mean? You have to do something. You have to force it. I don't know if you're still mad at Carr. If you're still mad at Carr and you're gonna come here to talk about, like, have that conversation, then bro, that ship has sailed, bro. Like, you need to get a life. I ain't gonna lie, you need to get a life. Like, that ship has sailed, bro. We're talking about the playoff game, and you're over here still. This man in your nightmares or something, because y'all be taking that car conversation personal. David says offensive line penalties again bit us. Yeah, 100% bit us in the ass, bro. And it was all game. All game. It was all game, bro. How many offensive penalties? Does anybody know how many offensive penalties did we have this game? Offensive line, just the offensive line. Do you guys know? Because that definitely was a drive killer. Marquez even says, "Oh, line killed us." You feel me? Says Carr played a hell of a game. I think Carr played a pretty good game, man. He played a pretty good game, but some Carr was telling Olsen what to call. It seemed like it, right? And it's funny because who is Carr going to on the sidelines? Like, you see when that timeout was called and then Carr went to the sidelines, then he had to go find Olsen. And it was almost like, what are we doing on the sidelines? Where's our coaching at? Where's our coaching? You know what I mean? Fangvu says, all you DC haters, don't worry. Raiders are going to extend DC. Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like DC had a pretty good game. Jacobs could have shown up. Could have shown up a little bit more, man. You know, definitely after the Chargers game when he was playing on, I think he could have shown up and done a little bit more. I'll pull up the I'm gonna pull up the stats real quick. Right here. Pull up the box score so then we can look at the stats. Let me share them on my screen for y'all so we can look at this real quick because I don't know the exact numbers. It just happened. You know what I mean? Y'all here with me. Let's just look this over real quick and I'm gonna get back to the chat for y'all. Get back to talking to y'all. But let's look at these numbers real quick so we're not just sitting here without nothing to look at. So we don't have to look at me. All right, so we got 29 of 54, 310 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, sacked 3 times for 28 yards. This 1 interception obviously came at the end of the game. Not bad, 310 yards. And it's funny because, you know, this stat right here, we heard this stat all year. We were undefeated when Carr throws for 300, but obviously that was proven wrong a long time ago when he didn't throw for 300 and we won. Joe Burrow, 24-34, very clean game, only 10 incompletions, 244 yards and 2 touchdowns, very clean game. Jacobs, though, 13 for 83 yards, very clean, very good game. You know what I mean? Maybe not very good, but a good game. I'll take that any day. I'll definitely take that any day. Carr had a rush for 20 yards. And then they hit us for 83 yards total. That's Jacobs total, so not too shabby. But here's where it comes into play, man. Jamar Chase killed us. 9 receptions, 116 yards, and that was early. 12 targets. That was early. They were getting after us early on that. Darren Waller, 7 for 76, our reception leader. Let's go ahead and move down. Turnovers right here. Fumbles lost. Carr lost one. It was the sack strip, and we lost that one. It was the one turnover. Well, outside of that last interception, of course. Then on defense, you got your tackles. Nothing too crazy. Max Crosby did get a sack. He had 2 tackles for loss. On this side of the ball, you had who had the sacks on this side of the ball? You got Sam Hubbard with a sack, B.J. Hill with a sack, and Trey Hendrickson with a sack, which was who got the strip sack fumble. And that pretty much concludes the stats, man. That pretty much concludes the stats. I'm going ahead that pretty much concludes the stats. But man, I'm not mad. I'm not bad about the season. I'm not mad about the game. So I don't got too much to complain about, man. We made the playoffs. We need to be positive. We went out there. We fought our asses off, yo. We fought our asses off these last 4 games. These last 4 games, we went out there, fought our asses off. This game, we did the same thing, man. We did the same thing. So I'm proud of the boys out there. Proud of what we put on the field. Of course, we got to make a lot of corrections. Offensive line, too many penalties. You know what I mean? Some of the wide receivers dropping some passes. You know, dropping those passes are rough. First super chat of the evening. ONT6 Soldier says, I just wanted to take a second to say how proud I am of this team. We overcame a lot just to even have a chance to play for the Lombardi Trophy, bro. 100%. 100% ONT6. You know what I mean, man? That's what I'm saying. I'm proud. I'm happy. Like, bro, we were in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Not everybody gets to go to the playoffs. We played a very good Bengals team. You know what I mean? We could have went out with a bang at the end right there, but it was just tough. It was a tough game all the way around. They do not, that defense did not want to give up anything, and they definitely did it there at the end. But ONT6, man, it's been a hell of a year. This is my first season as a content creator. It's my first season as a content creator. And I want to give a special thanks to ONT6, man, one of my biggest supporters, man. Talk to him almost personally now. You know what I mean? Whether it's about live football, football cards, whatever it is, man. You know what I mean? Going to work out. I appreciate you, ONT6, for supporting, always being here since day one. And shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, man. Tickler in the building. He says Burrow has great movement and timing. He's the real deal for sure, man. We played 2 very good quarterbacks back to back. You know what I mean? We played Herbert, and he's good. He's lethal as well. You know what I mean? And then you got Burrow, and of course we just seen what Burrow put out on the field. And he had a very clean game, man. He had a very clean game. We had a chance. We had a chance at the end, and it just didn't work out. You know, the deal says Leatherwood is a bust draft pick, total liability out there. Yeah, man, he could not. He can't grasp certain concepts. It seems like, and I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's Tom Cable. But the offensive line definitely got exposed today. Definitely got exposed today. Based effect in the building says if anybody blames Carr for this game, get out the nation now. I mean, I feel you, man. I feel the frustration, but I wouldn't say get out the nation. Everybody's gonna have their differences, but at the same time, I feel like Carr had a pretty good game. And although he threw that pick at the end, it just didn't feel like it just didn't feel like, it was all on Carr just because of that last throw. It was just sticky coverage all game, to be honest. Like, look at the throw he had to make to get down there. And, bro, that was it. I don't know how Waller caught it. I don't know how Carr got that in there. But, that's how sticky the coverage was. Like, it was lethal. They had pretty good coverage. You have to give them their credit as well, the Bengals. Fengvu said defense played well, but just couldn't stop the Bengals offense. The defense was cool. We couldn't really get the Burrow that much. We didn't cause any turnovers. I believe we didn't cause any turnovers. And it was just early in the game. If we could have got started early in the game, that would have been better. But we just couldn't get started early in the game. We let them score on opening drive. And after that, we kind of started to tailor, do a little bit better and tailor to the defense. You know what I mean? Try to make some adjustments, and they started getting field goals. But letting them start early definitely hurt us. Definitely hurt us in the end because we were just trying to make up for a huge deficit. But their defense, you got to give credit to that Bengals defense, man. That Bengals defense stepped up, and they were in some sticky coverage. Like, because you got to think, our defense, they were giving up a lot of plays to Jamar Chase and just some random first downs. And as far as their defense, they were pretty sticky. Waller wasn't able to get loose, and he just hasn't been himself. He was out for so long, and when he came back last week, you could kind of tell he wasn't himself. This week, he kind of wasn't himself, but he definitely made some plays. But you can still tell he needs to get into our rhythm. So, and then you have Renfro. Renfro couldn't really shake people that much today as well. But they were looking out for him. He was definitely somebody that they wanted to shut down. Farrell from the East, definitely big shout out to Farrell. He always pulls up for the fan chats. He says respect to Bisaccia, but we need a good offseason with new coaches. Good season by the Raiders. That game was literally a perfect example of the Raiders season. The better team won. They had more talent. I mean, I hear you, man, and I agree with you. We need real coaching. We need real coaching. Like, I don't want to see our quarterback go to the sideline and not talk to anybody. He just goes to the sideline, get some water, but then you have to walk across the sideline to go speak to your offensive coordinator. Like, why wasn't Greg Olsen right there with Carr? Like, why wasn't Olsen right there to talk to Carr? Why were they like yelling at each other from a distance? For me, it was just weird. And then it was like Carr was having to tell Olsen, what to do, whether it was this or that. And that right there is just, I don't know. I definitely agree though. Our coaching could take a leap forward. And I think it will this offseason. Hopefully it does. We'll see what happens. And definitely a good season from the Raiders, man. Definitely a good season from the Raiders. They do have more talent, and they're healthier. I also have to say that they're healthier. It seems like their O-line isn't that great, but that's not giving that's not really saying much based off the fact that our offensive line can't even go a drive without a penalty. Our offensive line got a penalty on every single drive. So that's pretty tough, man. Can't stop, won't stop. Raider Nation for life. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you pulling up. He says Leatherwood made a bad hold at the wrong time. Jacobs got us to the one man. That type of no discipline kills me. Yeah, bro. And it was almost like every big play we would get, it would be a penalty, a big play penalty. And that right there was just frustrating, yo. It was getting frustrating that to the point that you would kind of just like wait. You would almost have to pause and wait, like, okay, is it going to count or is there going to be a penalty? And that was getting annoying. That was getting frustrating. And all I could think is man, oh man, I can't wait for this post game because because this offensive line played like shit. This offensive line shit the bed. So at the end of the day, that's for me. That's the biggest difference. The offensive line just shit the bed. Good game, Bengals. Proud of this team for overcoming all that shit, all the shit that happened this season. We need to focus on fixing this O line and get a true number one wide receiver. Yeah, I mean, we definitely have to figure out Alex Leatherwood, yo. Like, is Alex Leatherwood is he going to be able to get coached up? Like, we already moved him from right tackle to right guard. Is Alex Leatherwood going to be able to get coached up to the point to where he'll be serviceable? He's someone we can keep long term. I remember when Miller had struggles and a lot of people wanted his head. But is Alex Leatherwood different? Is that a separate case? Because Miller didn't leave the left tackle position. Alex Leatherwood went from right tackle, was getting beat up, moved to right guard, and still pretty much getting beat up. So I wonder, is there going to be an adjustment made there, or are we going to have to continue developing him? And then also just, right tackle. I know a lot of people don't like Brandon Parker, but I mean, how bad is Brandon Parker compared to Alex Leatherwood? You know what I mean? Like, it's tough, yo. It's tough. It's tough. But we definitely have to get a true number one wide receiver, man. They got Jamar Chase out there. Just nobody could stop Jamar Chase. Like, we don't have anybody like Jamar Chase to where we could just go out there and even though regardless of what you're playing, what coverage you got, you could just go out there and win on whatever route he runs. And we need a guy like that for sure. I would love to. I'd love to get a guy like that for sure. Mike Moore says the refs were terrible with no calls too. Yeah, the refs. Yo, when they blew, I heard when they blew the whistle when Joe Burrow threw that touchdown. I heard them blow the whistle, and it was a dead play. And then they went to discuss it, and then they were like, "Oh, it's a touchdown." And then for me, I think what the refs were doing right there, where they called. They heard the whistle. They knew they blew the whistle, but then they were like, "Okay, just call it a touchdown." And then if he did step out of bounds, we can just say, he stepped out of bounds because all scoring plays are reviewable. And I think that's what happened in that situation. They knew that all plays are reviewable, but they didn't take in consideration that you wouldn't have been able to, overturn it based off of the fact that it was because of the whistle being blown and not him stepping out. So that was a terrible situation on our end. You know what I mean? That's one less touchdown they get. Leatherwood is undisciplined as fuck. Yeah, bro. Players like Leatherwood is gonna get Mayock fired. Yeah, bro. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens because now we can start talking about this offseason stuff and see what everybody got. See what everybody got in store. See what everybody got in store. I don't know who's live right now, but I definitely want to see if anybody wants to pull up just to see if we can get a second opinion. But definitely a good game. Definitely a good game. D Raider in the building. He says that spike was so bad. Why spike on the 9-yard line with 30 seconds? Yeah, I mean, I don't think the game came down to plays like that, man. I'll just be honest. I don't think games came down to plays like that. We had so many different opportunities to make something happen, but then a penalty would get called. So I don't think it should have that kind of stuff right there. It's like we had a chance, that spike didn't ruin our chances at all, in my opinion. I just don't think we could get anything in the end zone. Like, it was too sticky. It was too tough to figure something else out. Okay, Graphs and Jeets on. Everybody live. Okay, for sure. Threw the ball short of the end zone. I don't like that. 100%. I agree as well. I don't like the fact he threw it short of the end zone, but I think it was short of the end zone, but it was like right there at the line to where you caught it and you fall in. The linebacker Jermaine Pratt made a play and he jumped that route, and maybe he could have hit somebody else. But at the end of the day, man, like, I feel like we had so many. Like I said, I keep saying this, but we had so many opportunities that even though it came down to like, oh, you make this one play, like, nobody was really stepping up to do anything crazy. I mean, nobody was really doing anything too extravagant to where we would have been able to overcome a poor offensive line play. Like our offense, like Jacobs, for instance, when Greg Olsen calls a good play, for instance, and we do the screen, and then it gets called back, like, bro, like at what point? At what point are you going to be able to be like, oh man, like now what are you going to do? You know, you just had a good call play on a good situation. Good job by Greg Olsen. You know, Jacobs catches the ball, makes a good play downfield, and then you get a penalty, illegal man downfield. So at what point can you overcome that? You know, and I know some other people will say, you know, the offensive line played well because they didn't allow this or they didn't allow that. And it's like, well, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? We have 7 people staying in the block. We have 7 people staying in the block. Yeah, so the offensive line is going to look better. But when is it where were they when it counted? You know what I mean? You have Jacobs making a play, it gets called back. Jacobs making a run, it gets called back. You know, let's go ahead and pull up the play-by-play, matter of fact. Let's go ahead and pull up the play-by-play because I don't think the offense played well. I personally don't. I don't think the offensive line, played well. And I know some people will say that. And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go to the play-by-play, and I want to see how many offensive line penalties did we have, right? Because that you have to take that in consideration if the offensive line played well or not. And so you can see right here, this is the first drive. Let me see if I get control. Here we go. The offensive line. I'm going to look. So we got a false start on the second one, and it turned into a 2nd and 5. So there was a false start by Waller. That's 1 penalty on the first drive. So we got a penalty on the first drive. That was a false start. Second drive, we had a strip sack fun. We got a false start by Cole Miller. So that's the second drive. That's 2 penalties so far. And then we gave up the sack to Hendrickson. Morrow gave up a sack. So that's 2 penalties on the first 2 drives already. Just like that simple. 2 drives, 2 penalties. That one, we went 3 and out. Here we are. We actually got a field goal on this one. Looks like no penalties. So no penalties, we get a field goal. Here we scored a touchdown in the 2-minute drive at the end of the half. And we had a penalty, but that was against the Bengals. So on this drive, when we score, we didn't have any penalties. And I don't think that's a coincidence. The 2 drives we score, we don't have penalties. You know what I mean? I don't think there's a coincidence there. Here we are. Jesse Bates fumble. Oh, here's the pass to Renfro. Renfro wasn't able to bring this pass in. They rolled it incomplete, and it goes out of bounds. That was a crucial play. That was a very crucial play when Renfro, you know, I want to say Renfro so much dropped the pass. It was a good play by Jesse Bates to hit it out his arms. But at the same time, he could have held on to that. I think Renfro could have held on to that. And, you know, Jesse Bates made a play, and that was a crucial down right there to not come up with that. Here we are on the next drive. We got a field goal right off the bat. We got offensive holding on the 35-yard play. So Derek Carr passed deep right to Deshaun Jackson, ran out of bounds on Cincinnati's 38-yard line for a 35-yard gain. Penalty on Las Vegas Raiders, Alex Leatherwood, offensive holding 10 yards. Enforced at the 27-yard line. Enforced at the Las Vegas. Y'all listen to this real quick. Y'all telling me the offensive line had a good game? The offensive line had a good game. But we are on our own 27. We throw the ball, and we get to Cincinnati's 38-yard line. But then it gets nullified because the offensive line had a holding call. That's a terrible game. That's a terrible game. Like, I'm sorry. You can't do stuff like that, bro. We just changed field position, and you get a holding call. You go from our own 25 to the Cincinnati 38. You get a holding call. Now we're stuck at our 17-yard line. Instead of being on their 38, we're on our own 17. We go back 10 yards instead of going forward 35 yards. So the offensive line, no, they didn't have a good game, man. They didn't have a good game. Let's move on, though, right? We get over this. First and 20. We get over it, right? We get over it. Here we are. 2nd and 5. Jacobs runs for a first down. Penalty. Andre James holding. 10-yard penalty again. Where are we at? 2nd and 15. It's 2nd and 15 now. We get a 2nd and 15 now. It's 4th and 3rd. Carr throws a pass. It was defensive pass interference. We end up getting the first. You move on, first down. You get a 1-yard run. Incompletion by Carr. Here we are. Jacobs runs right for 8 yards. Penalty. John Simpson, 10 yards. That's 3 holding calls in the same drive. There's 3 holding calls in the same drive. Like, are you like how could you say the offensive line? I don't think the offensive line had a good game. I see people in the chat saying that I see somebody in the chat saying they did. I just don't see that, man. I don't see that. That's one drive. You had 3 offensive holding. We settled for a field goal. That's terrible. Let's move on to the next drive. Here we are. We make it to Las Vegas, 45-yard line for a 19-yard gain from Josh Jacobs. Penalty, Las Vegas, Alex Leatherwood, ineligible man downfield. We go from our 26-yard line to our 21-yard line instead of being our 45. Okay? On the very next play, we get a holding by the defense, so we move back up 5 yards. But then you move on, and then we actually drive downfield. But we only get 3 points. And then on the last drive, of course, penalty on Cincinnati, roughing the passer, gets us moved downfield. After a nice play, Carr 23 yards to Waller, and we close it with a pick by Carr. So, man, I mean, those penalties are drive killers. I mean, at the end of the day, those penalties are drive killers. So I just personally, I don't think the offensive line had a good game, man. I'm sorry, but for everybody that thinks they did, look, the offensive line screwed us. Florida boy, appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the support, brother. Glad to see you with us, man. He says Gus and Olsen got to go. Gus too damn stubborn and refuses to adjust. Woodson was right. 100% agree with you, man. Woodson was right. And I mean, I think we all knew about Gus Bradley's defense, and I can't really bag on it too much at the end because in the first half they gave up 20 points. In the second half they gave up 6. So definitely I haven't looked at the film yet. So they definitely either made adjustments or the Bengals just didn't pressure that much. But in my opinion, the Bengals kept throwing the football. So they must have kept, get their foot on the gas pedal, and those adjustments must have been made by Gus. So I do think he knows how to make adjustments because he only gave up those 6 points in the second half. The offense only scored 7 points in the second half, and we scored 13 in the first half, I believe. So with that right there, man, if for Gus Bradley, I don't know. I think you give him some time. I think our defense will be fine. That's me, though. I know a lot of people don't like it, and I was frustrated with Gus Bradley as well. But I think with some time, he might be all right. You got to think face on Diablo, Phylon, Jefferson. Jefferson did come back, but he was hurt. And Abram, Mullen, countless players on this defense have been hurt, and we've been making adjustments. So definitely Olsen, though, man. Offensive line lost this game. 100%, Tito. Offensive line lost this game. Shout out to the Queen. What's good with you? Alex says also hire Harbaugh or Flores, in my opinion. For defense, what are we going to do for defense? You talking about Flores? Jody 510 says, I'm tired of these casual fans that don't understand football. O-line killed us. Carr did everything he could. Exactly, man. And the offensive line, I think that offensive line screwed it for us, but at the same time, I'm not really tripping, man. We made the playoffs. We did what we had to do to make the playoffs, but once we got there, we lacked that experience. I just think we lacked the experience, the discipline, the coaching, and it's like we made it, but were we really supposed to be there? We squeezed it out the season somehow, but we definitely deserved to be there, right? But I think it showed today that we didn't have a lot of discipline. I think today's shown that we lacked a lot in coaching, especially on the offensive side of the football. Those penalties were just somebody should have been screaming at them, yo. Somebody should have been screaming at them. Tickler says, let's not pretend the NFL is not going to put out a statement on that Burrow touchdown like, hello, it was against the rule book. Yeah, 100%, bro. They'll talk about it, but at the same time, they still had 7. White Tyson said we spotted them 7. Yeah, exactly. Then that's what I'm saying. That game-opening drive, we go out there, we put up 3 points, but then they go out there and they score a touchdown. That hurt us. I think the fact that he got that opening drive touchdown was a tone setter, man. It was definitely a tone setter. And that was most of their firepower, in my opinion. They had a good script for that first game plan. They had a good script. Perry says, hell no, O-line didn't play well overall and had crucial flags on scoring drives. Exactly, bro. Shima86 in the building. Glad you're able to make it. If y'all can, man, we over 100 deep. Appreciate y'all pulling up because y'all could be anywhere. Y'all could be on any content creators, but y'all here with me. Appreciate y'all, man. If y'all can, make sure to hit that thumbs up. Hit the like button if y'all can. It's the free way to support the channel, dog. Appreciate Shima for supporting and putting out the super chat. He said, disappointed, but proud of this team. Appreciate your channel and all the hard work you do. Raider Nation for life. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support, bro, and the kind words, man. I'm disappointed that we lost because I feel like it was right there. You know what I mean? It would have just been perfect for Carr, and this football team to go out there, win in such a dramatic way. But at the same time, we've done it so many times. And the way the season's panned out, the fact that we even made the playoffs, like you said, I'm proud of the team, bro. I'm proud of the team, and I'm proud of the fan base for sticking it out, sticking it through this and everything, and being out here. You know what I mean? Still supporting. So shout out Shima with the super chat. Mike Jeezy in the building. He says there was a few crucial drops as well. 100%, bro. Renfro could have came down with the one JC Bates hit. You could say whatever you want to say. I wouldn't consider it a drop. I'd consider it a very good play by Jesse Bates. Usually Renfro catches those, right? So with that right there, you just have to say good defense. And I think the Bengals had a very good defense. It showed that we lacked talent. On the offensive side of the ball, in my opinion. Their defense was able to man up on our guys. Nobody could really win in too many situations. But I'm proud of this team, bro. I'm proud of this team. I'm happy we made the playoffs. I'm glad to be a Raiders fan, man. I can't wait for the offseason. I can't wait to see what we got in store because, look, this offseason going to be lit, yo. Either way, it's a win-win for us. It's a win-win for us. We could talk all the shit we want because we made the playoffs. You know what I mean? We're going into the offseason with firepower. We got a lot of salary cap, y'all. So we're going into the offseason with a lot of salary cap, with a lot of firepower. We got our draft picks. You know what I mean? You can't complain. We have everything in front of us that we want. We can go find coaches. It's not like it's a bad place to coach here. We just made the playoffs. We can't be mad. You know what I mean? So I appreciate y'all being here, and let's just turn up and make sure, you know what I mean, we stay positive, bro. Like, I'm good. I'm happy, bro. I'm happy. So Wavy in the building. Glad to see you folks. He said red zone offense killed us again, and too many mistakes. Couldn't get back from that this time. 100%, bro. The offensive red zone, it's just tough when you can't run it. In my opinion, I think our red zone woes as far as offense comes from the run game because we can't run it. And an example is you watch, for example, last week we were playing the Chargers and Eckler's able to punch it in from like the 10-yard line. They're like second and goal or something like that. He's able to punch it in from the 10-yard line. That's what we need. We need to be able to punch it in from the 5-yard line, from the 10-yard line, stuff like that. You notice every time we go in the red zone, we can't run it in. Have y'all noticed that? We cannot run it in when we're in the red zone. It's like, bro, we got 5 yards to go. We got 3 downs to get a touchdown, and we got 5 yards to go, and we can't get it in. So that right there, is frustrating for sure. And also, you could just say, the fact that we just don't have those weapons, those weapons, I guess. You know what I mean? Eduardo says leave Tom Cable in Cincinnati. 100% agree, bro. 100% agree. I kind of been saying that for a while. People say he was an offensive line guru, but I don't really like Tom Cable like that. This team wasn't ready. The defense looked sluggish. O-line sucked. Wide receivers can't catch, bro. This team needs a new coach, GM, and start over again. Fans since 85. Yeah, man. I mean, we have a lot to do, bro. We have a lot to do. Shout out to you for the super chat, Cruz. Shout out to Cruz for pulling up, man. Look, this team, I wouldn't say they weren't ready because I feel like we had the game in our hands. Like we were that close. It looked like it got out of hand. It wasn't pretty the whole time. We did get down early. We came back, scored a touchdown, and then we were within grasp, but we just couldn't get over that hump. We just had too many mistakes, man, and we looked over the play-by-play. Jacobs got a big play. It got called back. I think we seen that Renfro got a play and it got called back. Too many plays were getting called back. and it hurt us. It hurt us in the end, man. And then another thing I wanted to talk about, man, is I know you guys like Jacobs, and I like Jacobs. I think he's a good running back, but he just doesn't have the speed to break away. He had a run that he could have broke. In my opinion, he had a run that he could have been to the house. But you see somebody flying into the TV, catching him from behind, and it's like, bro, the line blocked for you. You barely got touched, and you're running down the sideline and get caught from behind. And I feel like most times than not, that running backs are fast enough to go ahead and take that to the house. And man, that's just tough for me. And it's like, bro, that's too much of in my opinion, it's too much of a liability to go out there and be like, okay, yeah, you're a bruiser. I get it. You're a bruiser and you can make some plays and chip away sometimes, but you're not consistent enough. And then even when you do get the blocking and you're out there beating the second level, you're not fast enough to break away and score a touchdown. Like, bro, you're in front of everybody and they still catch you. That's the most frustrating thing. You know what I mean? I want a running back that they break and they're gone. You know what I mean? They're breaking, they're gone. And we don't have that. In my opinion, we don't have that. And I think that's what we brought Drake in for. Obviously, he's hurt, and he hasn't done that this year either. So I'm not sure what we got to do to get that done. But man, that was frustrating when he got that run and he did not. He got caught from behind. I'm like, Bird, killing me. ONT6 with the super with the 20. Yo, appreciate it, ONT, man. Man, appreciate you, brother. He says it's crazy to think at the start of the season how deep we were at wide receivers. Receivers were asking to get cut because they weren't getting the ball. And look at our wide receiver core now at the end of the season, 100%, bro. Our wide receiver core got dismantled, starting with the fact that we had at the beginning it was Ruggs, Edwards, Renfro, John Brown, Snead, and Zay Jones. Right? Obviously, John Brown got cut. Snead has to be released. Ruggs got whatever. And then we were left with Zay Jones, Hunter Renfro, and Brian Edwards. We pick up Deshaun Jackson, and you know what I mean? We had a complete turnover in a whole season of our wide receiver core. So that's pretty tough. And you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we still made the playoffs, bro. At the end of the day, we still made the playoffs. And I know me and you have talked about it. We want to get a receiver, bro. We want to get a receiver bad. And hopefully we do this offseason. Alex Martinez says, all in the red zone. You can't blame Carr for that. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to be in the red zone it's tough to score in the red zone when you can't run because they're just dropping back. You have 7 players covering the red zone, covering the end zone, so you can't score because they know you're not going to be able to run it in. And it's hard to throw it in there like that. It is. Like you can't really throw into those windows, man. You'll throw a pick for sure. And we've seen it at the end. That's what will happen because you can't run in the red zone. Like, bro, we could be at the 5-yard line and we still won't run the fucking ball in the red zone. Like, we still can't punch it in. I'm not saying we won't run it. I'm saying we can't. We can't actually punch it in. It's like, that's just frustrating, bro. Shout out 805 in the building. Yes, sir. Yeah, see? Yeah, he says, yeah, he was caught. And that's what I'm saying. He be getting caught, bro. He be getting caught. EJ said Raider fans are too dramatic. What I do, man? Me? You talk about me? What we talking about? Raider Houston said need speed there. 100%, bro. We need speed. You see big guys all over the league. Look at Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's the best of the best. I'm not trying to compare, but I'm saying look how big he is. Look how fast he runs. And then you have another example. Look at Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler is pound for pound one of the strongest dude and then also fast. Then you have Jonathan Taylor's big old running back that is completely faster than Josh Jacobs. So there's tons of guys that are fast and that are big. Leonard Fournette is fast as well. You know, so I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Neek in the building with the $5 super chat. Appreciate it, brother. He says the holding penalties really interrupted the game. Think about the 9-yard run that Josh had to the 1-yard line and we get a holding call. Exactly my point, bro. Exactly. You know, that's just adding fuel to the fire, but it's like you can't say the offensive line did good when they get calls like this. Think about the screenplay, right? Jacobs finally gets a good run. He gets called back. Greg Olsen calls a beautiful run, screenplay, calls a beautiful screenplay at the right time. It gets called back. Carr throws a great pass to, who is it? Deshaun Jackson. It gets called back. So it's like, at what point At what point, you know what I mean? Are you going to say, the offensive line had a bad game just because they block every once in a while pretty good, but they got how many penalties? 6 or 7 penalties? That's a terrible game, bro. That is a terrible game. Offensive line had a shitty game. You can't justify that. Jacobs only does 4.7 in the 40. Needs to get faster. Yeah, bro. He's not really that fast. He says, I'm a Jacobs fan, but I agree. Play could have been a touchdown. And that's what I'm saying. I'm a fan of Jacobs, y'all. And I don't want you guys to think like I'm bagging on Jacobs or saying that he's terrible. No, I think he's a good running back. But honestly, I think he's a good number 2 running back. What I mean by that is someone that can kind of take the load off. And he can get those yards. He'll be able to break for a 20-yard run, 30-yard run, easily an 8-yard run, make something happen. But he doesn't have that breakaway speed. And that right there is what just gets to me, man. I like Jacobs, but that breakaway just, woof. Oh, yeah, Trey. Yeah, Trey. That Barber kickoff still hurts me. Yeah, bro. That was a tough one, man. Like, that was super tough because, he had the right thing in mind. Barber had the right thing in mind. And I know a lot of people were like bagging on him and saying a lot of things about Barber, but at the same time, it's like he had the right thing in mind. He knew what he wanted to do. He just didn't do it the right way. And then not only that, I don't think it may have cost us. You never know. It may have cost us. We could have got a 3-and-out regardless, whether we were on the 25, whether he picked up the ball and just ran normally. You really don't know, but we were definitely backed up, put us in bad field position. It was just a bonehead play by him. I understand what he was trying to do, though, man. And I'm not really too hard on Barber. I'm not too hard on Barber for that one. Then Barber picking up the ball at the 1 instead of letting it go out of bounds. Well, yeah, and I 100% agree. Like, he should have let it go out of bounds, but I think he just wanted to secure it, but he didn't know the rule. The thing with Barber is he didn't want to screw the Raiders over, but he didn't know the rule. And I think him getting the ball and jumping out of bounds, he thought that he was going to get the penalty. Peyton Barber thought he was going to get the penalty if he get the ball and he jumped out of bounds. But the rule is you have to get the ball and have have possession inside of bounds, something like that. I'm not entirely sure of like the wordage or whatever they use. But then also you have to step out of bounds. So then it is out of bounds, because if you just catch it and then jump out of bounds, they consider you getting possession of it and then going out of bounds instead of the ball being bouncing out of bounds, which you having 1 foot in and then just catching it and stepping 1 foot out, which is what he's supposed to do. So, you know what I mean? That's just tough. That's just tough, man. Raider Hector says, I'm heartbroken, crying in front of my 2 sons. This one hurts. Hey, man, look, I wouldn't be too upset, bro, because think about the season, man. Think about everything we've been through. Think about all the ups and downs. Think about what we have going into these offseason. The fact that we made the playoffs, that means we have something to build off of. And I know a lot of people will say, we're saying tear it down, tank the season. Earlier in the season, people would say tank the season, tear it down. We need a new coach. We need a new GM. But at the same time, it's like in my opinion, we're proving that we have something to build off of, right? Why would you go to the playoffs and then not continue building off of what you have? And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't think we need a whole lot. I think we just need consistent pieces. We need consistent wide receivers, right? Guys that are here for a consistent amount of time, working with the same quarterback, with the same offensive coordinator, with the same coaches, and getting that congruent time together. Offensive line, same thing as well. Offensive line, same thing as well. Running backs, I already spoke on that. I definitely want a fast running back, someone that could break away, someone that you could give them the ball, and once they hit the hole, they could potentially be gone. So White Tyson says, lost a playoff game, but I feel this team is going to get so much better during this offseason. I'm excited for the future. For a change, we'll be back. 100%, bro. Just think about the game. Like nation, y'all. Just hear me out this one time. If y'all ever listen to this right here, bro. Just think about it. We made the playoffs and we competed. We didn't go to the playoffs and like, oh, that was a fluke. Like the Raiders should have never been there. No, we went to the playoffs and we competed. It's not like we went into Cincinnati, bro. Like you heard the crowd. I can hear the crowd. I'm like, yo, that place is pretty rocking. Like, you know what I mean? Cincy was pretty rocking. you go in there and you could actually compete. It's not like you went in there and got blown out or anything. It went down to the last second. It was literally just like the last game we played. It went down to the last second. And the fact that it went down to the last second shows we compete. We can hang with them, you know what I mean, with the people in the playoffs, and we have something to build off of. So I want to be too down about this game. And like my boy White Tyson says, he says, I'm excited for the future, for a change, and we'll be back. 100% agree with you, bro. 100% agree with you. Corey Cases, what wide receiver do you want? I mean, the ideal, what I'd want is Devontae Adams, a healthy, productive Devontae Adams. But at the same time, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna kind of wait because I do like DJ Chark. He's trying to get over his injury. They have Allen Robinson's out there, Chris Godwin, who got hurt. He'll be out there, but I think we should be able to get a pretty good receiver in here for a decent price, especially if these wide receivers are coming off of injuries. Like, think about Jamison Williams coming out of Alabama. He's coming off injury, so I guarantee he'll slip a little bit. But I'm not saying we'll draft him or anything. I'm just saying, when these injuries pop up, guys tend to slip. They get less in their contracts. They got to probably prove it that they're healthy and stuff like that. Alex Marquez says, thanks for the great season of Content G. My favorite content creator by far. I appreciate you, Alex, man. He's a member of the channel. Love to see you pulling up to the lives, bro. Love to see you there. And we talking football all the time. Appreciate the words as well, and the super chat and the support. I don't really know what to say to that, but I'm just glad you're here with me, bro. I'm just glad you're able to support and for the kind words, man. Definitely appreciate the super chat. Thank you, man, for being here and making this season that much more better shit for me. You know what I mean? Because like I said, this is my first time being a content creator, my first season, and you know what I mean. People like Alex, being here and just supporting, having that feedback, giving me constructive criticism, and also being devil's advocate. We may not agree on everything. Everybody in the chat may not agree with everything with me, but we always have civil conversations, healthy debates, and we're able to just, agree on what we want to agree on without having to pick and fight at each other. So I definitely appreciate you being part of the squad and supporting the channel, man. Cruise Control says, Ray, trust me, I'm happy about this year too. About this year, 2 playoffs in 20 years, bro. Now number 4 has to start with the new C staff. I like that you're positive, but management was B. Yeah, man. I mean, 100% agree, Cruz. 100% agree, Cruz. And at the end of the day, 2 playoffs in 20 years, which is crazy. But you think about it, we didn't make the playoffs since 2002 prior to that 2016 year. And we made it twice with Carr in 8 years. And, could we have made it more playoffs with a different guy? Yes, but at the same time, we don't really know. This franchise has so much dysfunction, so many roller coasters. You've seen them talk about it during the game when they talked about Arnett. They talked about Ruggs. They talked about Gruden. So much stuff happened with this team, and the fact that we're in the spot we are, we definitely proved that we have something to build off of. And I appreciate you, man. Definitely appreciate you, Cruz. Management has to step up for sure, man. And like you said, Carr has to start with the new staff again, bro. Again. This will be his 6th head coach in 8 years. That's crazy, y'all. Think about that. You've been with the team for 8 years, and you're on your 6th head coach. That's crazy. That's crazy. OT6 in the building says, Ray, what do we do with Leatherwood? Keep him at right guard, move to right tackle, or move on from him? Would we fix this O-line this offseason? I think this O-line, it can be fixed this offseason for sure. We need the discipline, man. We need the discipline. I don't think we have that discipline with the offensive line. Stop the false start, stop the holding. Because on one of the plays, it's like, yeah, Alex Leatherwood held, but it's like, bro, you didn't really have to hold because Carr ended up stepping up in the pocket, moving to his right, and then threw it to who did he throw it to? Deshaun Jackson, or he threw it to somebody, and it got called back. And it was like, you really didn't have to hold. And you should have just let your guy go, man. And certain stuff like that, illegal man downfield, not knowing where you're at on the field, probably because you don't run that play too often. So you just don't understand maybe not understanding the concept or your awareness of where you're at on the field and knowing that you can get that penalty on that kind of play because, it's a longer play. You kind of have to stall out. So it's tough, man. It's tough. Payback is a B. Last week, y'all was on a high later. I mean, it was a good game, man. I'm assuming you're a Bengals fan. It was a good game. It's not like, we were out there and it was just a blowout. No, on both ends of the field, both sides of the field, everybody was toughing it out. The Bengals, I give credit to the Bengals defense, though. They were sticky, man. Their back end was on fire. Jesse Bates had a hell of a game. I think he was probably their MVP on defense because when he hit the ball out of Renfro's hands, Renfro could have caught that. But at the same time, if Bates doesn't hit that ball, that's a catch. And who knows what would have happened. So, tough game. It was a tough game. I ain't mad at it, though. But can we blame Gus? He was out there with 3 starters, Max, Yannick, and Mirik. And I guess you can include Casey, but we didn't know from camp. Yeah. Exactly. You know what I mean? Think about it. Like, we had a lot of guys hurt. Mirik is a rookie. Casey Hayward did come in late. And, you just got to think. Gus Bradley kind of passed his defense up, in my opinion. I'll be honest. He passed his defense up, in my opinion. Who did we have beforehand that he was really using? And you could just say Hankins, Crosby, Abram, which Abram is hurt. Hankins was hurt a couple times, but Abram's out. And who else? Mullins. But Mullins been out for a minute. So, he really passed his defense up. He went and got Teamer. He went and got Faison. He went and got Hayward. Yannick, Perriman, Diablo, Mirig, Quentin Jefferson, KJ Wright. I mean, he went and got a lot of guys. So, you know what I mean? Some people might blame him. Some people won't. I'm not really too hard on Gus Bradley. Man. South one says, only the casual saying getting the quarterback. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not going to even debate with that about that anymore. That debate is long gone. That debate's long gone, bro. We made the play. The funny thing is about the car talk is it was, he needs to make the playoffs. Only thing that matters is wins. And then people will be like, we made the playoffs and we won 4 in a row. And then throw that out and then try to add something else to move the goalposts for the conversation. And it's like, bro, your debate you lost the debate a long time ago. So I'm not doing that car talk, man. If the Raiders get rid of Derek Carr this offseason, I'd honestly be surprised. But if we did, then we must be bringing in a hell of a quarterback or something. Queen Raider says, it hurts, but damn, we made the playoffs. You guys know, like 4 or 5 weeks ago, we didn't think we'd make it this far. 100%, right? 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were in turmoil. We thought we were just going straight downhill. We thought the season was going to completely do a 360, and we were going to go from 5-2. You know what I mean? From 5-12. So definitely proud of this team for sticking it out and being able to fight. Matt Brown says we need some new guys on the O-line. Simpson and Parker are both liabilities. What's crazy, Matt? Listen, check this out, y'all. Matt Super Chat says Simpson and Parker are liability, but shit, you got to add Leatherwood too. You have to add Leatherwood too. That's more than half the offensive line. And I know Andre James had a penalty this game, but I don't think Andre James is that much a liability. I think he stepped into his role very well, but woof. Yeah, the offensive line, man, we got into that. Semi says, did Divine Diablo get injury? Yeah, he had a concussion, man. He ended up being out for the game. That's why Corey Littleton came in. And he said, could we get Calvin Ridley? I think we could. Get Calvin Ridley. Maybe we could trade for him, bring him in. I wouldn't be mad at that. I'd bring in Calvin Ridley. Yeah, y'all gotta listen to the Queen, man. Make sure y'all rate that like button, yo. Rate that like button. South one says clowns want to blame DC for the loss. Pathetic. Yeah, I'm not really blaming anybody for this loss, man. We had a good game. I'm proud of the boys. Proud of the fact that we were able to go out there and fight. So, let's just keep it on a positive note. If people were out there like trying to bash a player, like, come on, man. We had a good season. We're going into the offseason with a ton of salary cap. We have our draft picks, and we could just do our thing, man. Maximus in the building says, great year with you, Ray. Proud of our Raiders. Hope to meet you at the draft. Matter of fact, you just might, bro. You just might, brother. You just might. I think a lot of the content creators are trying to meet up out there and try to do something. And I think that would be fire, bro. I think that would be fire and something we got to link and get something going, man. So if y'all going to the draft, y'all might just see me out there. So shout out everybody that's going to be out there. Shout out Maximus, man. Glad to have you for the season and be a part of this year because it was a hell of a season and it was fun. It was fun. It was a fun season, yo. Blown whistle call. We didn't, blown whistle. That was a BS call. It was a BS call, man. You figured that right there. We gave them 7 there. They could have walked away with 3, but they end up getting the 7 there. And then Jacobs gets the run to inside the 5. We get a penalty and it gets called back. So definitely a tough game, man. But I'm happy, yo. And this I'm gonna probably conclude this live, man. And it's the last live of the season, basically. It's the last live of the season, yo. Last live of the season. And I just want to say, thanks to everybody for the year, for the season. It was great. I had a great time. Love doing this. Can't wait to continue working for the next year, for the off season. Drop a bunch of film on some potential draft prospects. Potential guys we could keep, let go, just film throughout the year some things we may see that's new potentially, right? Look at some schemes if we get a new head coach, if we get a new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, go back and look at their film, how they run defenses. We'll have all sorts of stuff to talk about this offseason, man. So I appreciate everybody that's pulled up. Appreciate every other content creator that's ever supported me, came onto the show, let me go on their show. Honcho, Grafs, and G, Andy Raiders Football Talk. I don't want to forget anybody. Hammer's House, Spotlight. Man, let me know if I'm forgetting anybody. Everybody. Samoan was on here earlier, so shout out to everybody that has ever pulled up, ever showed love. Shout out to Agent Red, Jack Kenna, 916, the boy in the building. Raiders 805, Gilbert Batista, Hot Wheel Raider. Safwan, of course, Chester Raider, Anish in the building. Don't worry. RJ, Wavy in the building. White Tyson, AA Ron. Yeah, shout out everybody, man. I appreciate everybody that's pulled up. You know what I mean? Real Black Mamba. I appreciate everybody that's pulled up. LV Maximus, Raider Purge. Raider Purge, shout out to you, brother. I love seeing you pulled up for the Members Lives chopping game with us about film, man. Make sure y'all rate that like button on your way out, nation. Shout out Arkham Raider for pulling up, man. Always showing love to everybody. Arkham Raider show love to everybody. Ray Love in the building. Susan in the building. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You already know what it is, brother. John Williams says Raiders suck. Hey, look, John Williams, make sure you hit that like button, John, and hit the subscribe button if you can, bro. Appreciate you pulling up. Appreciate you commenting and helping the algorithm out, bro. But I'm going to catch y'all later. Been up here for a minute, man. Appreciate everybody that's pulled up, everybody that's been here, that's been supporting, that's become a member. The members is going to be live. I'm going to keep them lit. You already know what it is, man. You already know how I rock it if you're a member, man. We be in here throughout the week talking our shit, And then everybody else that just pulls up and supports and shows love. I appreciate all of y'all, man, but I'm going to get out of here, y'all. Have a good night, and remember, stay positive, y'all. We got a lot to build off of. We got salary cap. When everybody says something to you, let them know. Look, we Gucci. We got a lot to build off of. We made the playoffs. We got a lot of – after everything that's happened, we got a lot of salary cap. We got a lot of draft picks, and we even have trade bait and some players on our team potentially. We could release guys to get some more money. So appreciate everybody pulling up. Shout out to all y'all, man. You already know what it is, y'all. Until next time, y'all, ready to tape.